do you date to make her jealous? And is this something that's going to work? This can be something that I definitely recommend, but if you don't do it the right way, if you don't have the timing of it in order and you don't handle it without a cold shoulder, if you don't handle it with the three P's, where you're polite, playful, and the way that you interact with the response when she finds out, this can all backfire if everything isn't done exactly the way that it should be. The first question would be, why are you separated? Did you shove her out? So I'll give you an example in my story. I was in a marriage where my ex-wife left me. And so here I am for close to a year. I have my kids full time. I had 3 children at home. They're full time with me. Hadn't seen my ex in months and months and months. At one point, I decided, okay, maybe she's never coming back. So it's time for me to move on and to look at possibly dating. And this is something actually with suggestion of my children and a really close friend of mine that was also a minister. I thought, okay, well, I'll get my toe in the water and step back out there. I started dating a few different women, nothing serious, but just getting back out there intentionally. I didn't even really feel like it. I didn't really even want to do it. But the goal was to take my life back, and I had changed every area of my life, spiritually, physically, intellectually, had worked on my character, made some permanent changes that were lasting to this day, worked on how to emotionally talk to women, studied marriage, studied divorce, and I knew that if I was going to go into a new relationship, that I wanted to be a different and a better version of me. I didn't want to be responsible for hurting my children again, for hurting another woman. And also, I just had to kind of snap out of the funk that wasn't healthy, because then people can lean on their kids. And I always wanted to be that parent that I was there when my kids needed me. I didn't want to need my kids. So I didn't allow myself to go there. I did dip my toe back in the dating pool. So just use that as an opportunity to practice some of the things that I was learning and studying marriage and studying biblical marriage, because for me, the religious aspect of it was very important. And if I were to have another relationship and a new marriage, I wanted to leave a legacy of successful marriage to my children and to my grandchildren. My parents were divorced. This is something that was very important to me, that if I were to re-enter that again, that it was to be very successful. So as I started dating, I eventually found somebody that I had emotions for and developed feelings of love. And then sure enough, as that relationship evolved into something we're both like head over heels for each other, guess what? My ex found out about it and came back into the picture. She wanted nothing to do with me, not coming back in the picture whatsoever, until she found out that I was seeing another woman that happened to be very, very beautiful. Then she goes back and is like, oh, I want to work on the relationship. I want to work on the marriage. And I'm like, okay. I discussed this with the new lady I'm dating for the sake of my children. She's like, oh, we gotta cut this off. The point that I'm making and bringing that up is the very act of dating someone else was the only thing I hadn't tried, where my ex now wants to come back in. She has some interest in me. So what happened was she found out that I was dating somebody else. And now all of a sudden, this piece of meat that she left that she thought would just be there waiting for her when she came back, now there's an environment where she has a fear of risk losing me. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that marriage ended in divorce. And I won't go into all the details of that because that's changing the subject. But what I do want to do is fast forward into my new marriage. I end up back with the lady that I'm in love with. We had this amazing marriage. Everything was perfect. It was just like we were and still are soulmates, but we had a hiccup in the marriage. And I found myself back in a separation where it's about to end in a divorce again. I had started a business. It was pumping out, being very successful, bringing in over 6 figures a month. I was a very highly successful entrepreneur, a business person, living downtown Miami on the 50th floor. I had everything together, and it was just starting to take off. It was the beginning of it. I had a very high level of success. I was considered a very high-powered, influential individual. Then I was diagnosed with cancer. I go through that. It weakened me. I lost 100 pounds. I lost all of my muscles. I wasn't able to have sex anymore. I became an angry jerk, and I literally shoved this wife out. So it wasn't like it was necessarily the first go round. It was different circumstances, but I was finding myself back in the same place. So I remembered some of the things that I had done right that almost successfully attracted my first wife back, because now I'm sitting here in a second marriage where it's about to end, and I didn't want that marriage to end. I wanted to save it. So I'm remembering from the first go round, what were some of the wins that I had that I could re-implement? And as I'm practicing some of those things. I'm seeing some successes. I'm seeing her start to open up, my current wife, and start talking to me. But then I would do something wrong. And I remembered, oh, that was a loss that I had the first go round. So I get to do something differently. But when it came to the opportunity where I was by myself in a separation that had lasted 6 months, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm not willing to go through this separation for another 6 months. But at the same time, I had just got my life back on track. And I'm like, you know what? If I would have started dating other women in that separation, it would have had an opposite effect. And the reason for that is because my wife at the time fully expected me, when I got back on my feet just a little bit better, to go start dating. And basically, because I had told her I don't want you anymore because of the anger I had issues with the chemotherapy and the drugs, all this stuff. They put me on some medication called gabapentin, and it caused me to have rage. And I would say stuff I didn't even remember until after she was gone and we discussed it. And she fully expected me, when I got back on my feet just a little bit more, in that circumstance, she expected me to go start dating again. And if I would have done that, I think it would have actually severed the relationship forever, because the way I pushed her out the door was I made her feel like she was of no value to my life, that I didn't need her, yada, 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 because of the hurtful things that I had said to her and that I had done to her. And so what I chose to do instead was just say, you know what? I have a second chance on life. I've got my life back. I'm healthy. My weight's coming back. I got back in the gym. I got back in the office. I started working, and I started walking in my purpose before. See, when she left me, I was feeling sorry for myself. I had lost 100 pounds. I was mad at the world. All of the muscle tone I had worked for years to build, to be this, hoss of a guy, I had lost it all. None of it was my fault. I was angry at God. I was angry at the world. And it was just like, I'd become a weak, pathetic man in my mind. So I said, I'm going to become a strong man in my mind, a strong man physically. I'm going to get my strength back. And instead of focusing on women, instead of focusing on dating, I'm going to actually focus 100% on my mission. For some of you, you've focused on your mission. You've increased spiritually, physically, intellectually. Your character has permanently changed. And you've become this emotionally safe man that any woman on the planet would be crazy not to want as a husband. The unfortunate thing is your wife or your long-term relationship lover, that's maybe the mother of your children that you're trying to attract back, maybe she's with another man. Maybe she doesn't care about any of that because she knows that you're just sitting there on the sidelines waiting. And she doesn't fear losing you. She has no fear that, wow, I could lose him forever, because she knows that you're there waiting. So in that situation, depending on the specifics, I would recommend that you date, but you would have to do it on the correct timing. This is something where you're scheduling a one-on-one coaching call with me, or consider joining the program at denvergriffin.com. There's a free masterclass that'll give you some different wins and insights on how to attract your spouse back or your long-term relationship lover back. There's also a place where you can apply to work with me. We can do a consultation call to see exactly how I can help you with your needs. In the Divorce Stoppers program, you're able to schedule unlimited calls with me at no additional charge. It's built into the program. So one of the things that I can recommend, if you have lost your purpose, the first thing that you need to do before you consider dating or trying to make her jealous is get your crap together. Get your purpose back first. And then once you've become a high value man again, and you're attractive, and you've permanently increased your attractiveness in your spiritual, your physical, your intellectual, your character, and your emotional attractiveness. You've become an emotionally safe man. You're not overreactive. You're calm, cool, and collective. You're different by being indifferent, but you're not giving the cold shoulder. You're not practicing the no contact rule in a way that's negative or hateful. You're always positive, polite, and playful, the 3 Ps. Once you have all of that down and you've become a high value man again, at that point, it might be, if you want to speed things up, that might be when you get to pivot and you actually need to go out and start dating other women to speed up the process. This is not to be manipulative. The intention of dating is multi-factor. Number one, I want you to enjoy your life. If you have somebody that you love and they don't want to be with you, I don't care if you're still married. I'm not suggesting adultery. The goal is to speed things up. So what if you are religious? This is I'm religious, okay? I love the Lord with all my heart. But I can tell you this, If you want to look at religiosity, to him who has, this is according to the word, to him who has, more will be given. And to him that has not, what he does have will be taken away. To me, that says that's okay to date. Okay, I'm not suggesting that you hook up. I am suggesting that you enjoy your life again and you start the process. If there's a woman that doesn't want you, doesn't want anything to do with you, I am suggesting that you say, guess what? There's other fish in the sea. I'm not going to be such a loser that I can't see that that woman that I want, she's the only one, and I'll never have a happy life again without that woman. You start practicing your social skills. You start practicing how to treat a woman right, but that's going to require another woman at the dinner table, okay? For another religious person, if the unbeliever leaves, let them go. You're no longer bound. I'm not saying that you have to close off and give the ex the cold shoulder, because if you still want them back, you can still attract them back. There's other coaches out there. The only competition that I have here on YouTube, there's a couple of different coaches, okay? There's the dad and the gal, and then there's the younger guy that's not married. One of the things that I've noticed that they do as a trend is that they don't recommend what I'm recommending. Not that I am recommending it. It depends on your situation. But what they do is they like practice, change all of these things about your life, and then wait 2 years, 3 years, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, 4 years, and eventually you'll get them back. You have to wait for limerence to run its course, and you have to wait for her to finally see that you're the man of her dreams after she explores the world and finds herself. You know what? You actually can do all of that if you want to. The only downfall of it is it's going to take, if she's already found another man, she doesn't risk, she doesn't have any fear around losing you. If you don't implement the dating technique the right way, then you're going to be waiting 1, 2, or 3 years to attract her back. And for any of the men that's in my coaching program or even on a one-on-one phone call, if you're not in a rush and you're okay hurting and anguishing pain for 12, 24, or 36 months, maybe you've already done it for 12 months or more. If you're willing to do it another 12, 24, or 36 months, then that's your personal choice. I personally would not want to do that. And if there's children involved, I don't recommend that anybody in my program do that. I think that the longer that you allow that to sever, the weaker you look, and it's going to delay and delay and delay and delay. Hope deferred kills the heart. I don't want any of the men in my program that are already so heartbroken when they come in that they feel like death would be welcome. I don't want to put anybody in a situation where the hope is deferred for 3 years to the point that they want to check out. My goal is for your marriage or your relationship to be restored the fastest way possible. But also I care about what your goals are, and we create a custom plan on how do you actually implement and do this, okay? So I want you, if you do decide to date, but again, I would really prefer you not go by this YouTube video to implement this. At least schedule a one-on-one phone call with me. My rates are about the rates of an attorney, and I would much rather you pay me for 1 hour than do this the wrong way and have to pay an attorney for 40 hours, okay? And by the way, a really good attorney, because I'm good. This is my life experience of 40 years, and I'm about 50 years old, but I'm talking about nearly 40 years of marriage, 25, 35. I've been married about 35 years total between two marriages. So I want you to stay moral if you're going to date. And I want you always to do this in a way that is never manipulative. And I don't ever want you to use another woman in a manipulation tactic or strategy. This is something that if we decide to employ dating, that this is going to be a mutually beneficial, fun, hang out, have fun dinner with another nice woman where you're giving as much as you're getting. You're practicing on the new way of being that you've become, the different levels of attractiveness that you've become. You're understanding and practicing my new tools, technique, and skills. How do I build up a woman? How do I make a woman feel appreciated and valued? How do I talk to a woman? How do I listen to a woman? If you go out on a date and you do that, you're absolutely not using the other person. You're giving them a good time. The goal here is to show this woman, this is what you should look for in a man. Now, if you're ultimately not attracted to her and that doesn't lead to anywhere else, and you're really making known up front, I'm not looking to get serious. As long as you're being honest, everybody wins and having a good time at dinner. Nothing wrong with that at all. So have fun, enjoy your life, and practice. Now, I don't want you to hide it. If you decide, like maybe you do a one-on-one coaching call with me and I say, you know what? you need to start dating. You're going to have to if you want to speed things up. Otherwise, your wife or your long-term relationship lover, she might end up pregnant with another man's baby. Let's put some speed on this, because the more time that goes by, the more factors, the more mountains there are to overcome. At this point, right now, you're on the top of the mountain. I'm just teaching you how to gently and easily walk down it. Easiest thing you'll ever do in your life, but it's not common sense, and you can't do it by yourself. You need somebody to coach you through these steps, especially with this. So in the event that you do date, okay, if I advise it, you don't want to hide it, okay, and you don't want to deny it. There's nothing wrong if you have a woman over here, your ex, your long-term relationship lover, that says, I don't want to live with you anymore. I don't want to be with you anymore. I don't want to be in the same household with you anymore. There's nothing wrong with you being honest about, I'm just having fun. You don't want to be with me. Somebody else does. There's nothing wrong with that. When she finds that out, it will, if you're practicing the other steps, if you've become attractive in spiritual, physical, intellectual, with your character, an emotionally safe man, if you've done all these other steps first, okay, and she still hasn't come back, and now that she finds out that you're dating somebody else, if you've actually done the other steps in my program, and I even teach all of this in the YouTube videos where you can learn all of this from the YouTube video, if you've done all the other steps in the correct step that you need to, it will cause her to have fear of losing you. It will cause her to have extreme curiosity. Curiosity for a woman almost always equals attractiveness. Now, she might go psychotic crazy for just a minute. I was in a relationship where I did this, and whenever I did this, my lover actually went psycho. She knew I was going to go on a date, caught up with me on the road, and like almost tried to run me off of the road because it made her crazy with jealousy. And guess what? A couple of days later, we're back together and figuring things out. And if I hadn't have went on the date in that scenario, she would not have come back probably for months, if ever, maybe a year, but that did speed up the process. This is a very tedious thing. You need a coaching call or be involved in my program. And even if you're a man and you're in my program and you're considering implementing this and you haven't got to that module yet where I talk about this, or even if you've got to that module, you still need to schedule a one-on-one phone call with me. For those of you that are not in the program, I do one-on-one coaching calls for people that are not in my program. However, if you're in the program, as you know, there's unlimited one-on-one coaching calls. This is a coaching call. Schedule it. So have fun, enjoy your life, and practice. The goal of the dating is to practice who you are, practicing treating women the way that they deserve to be treated, okay? Don't hide it. Don't deny it. Never involve your kids in dating right now. If you're still married especially, do not involve the kids in the dates. Do not manipulate that situation. Exclude them from it. Don't try to hide it. Don't even really necessarily try to hide it from your kids. But don't go put it in their face either. They have enough stuff to deal with. If you're in the middle of a divorce, the courts typically don't give a rat's booty about this. Now, again, that's something why we want to do a one-on-one phone call, and I may even give you a question to ask your attorney just to make sure you're okay there. But 99 times out of 100, the courts just don't care about this anymore. denvergriffin.com. Visit the masterclass, get some more wins from there, either schedule a one-on-one coaching call or apply to work with me in the coaching program and do a coaching call in the program. Hey guys, I want to share something with you. If you're still watching the video at this stage, I'm assuming that you're getting at least some benefit from the content. I want to give you something else. I'm offering right now a free masterclass, and at the end of that masterclass, I'm giving you an opportunity to apply to work with me. The website to do that is denvergriffin.com/masterclass. And if you're enjoying some of this content, please hit that like button and subscribe. I'm posting YouTube videos daily right now to give you free content in order to help you save your marriage. And I want you to be notified as those videos become available in real time.